your time out. We appreciate your work. We thank you for what you've done. We want to thank you. We appreciate you being here with us. We honor you. Yes, each time I come around, each time I have this live session with you, I always appreciate the fact that we are having a nice time together. And I am so glad because it helps me to, each time I come around, I always want to, share things that are going to transform your life for quite a long time. And there is something about the millionaires that sets them apart from the poor and middle class, which is millionaires do have the mindset that helps them, that aids them to think properly, that helps them to take the positive actions that are going to help them to skyrocket their own destinies. While the poor middle class, they always have negativity within themselves, making them not to be able to think well or to act well. I get what I'm saying. So when we talk about being millionaire or wealthy man, it's not just about you having words of cash in your hand, but also we are talking clinically about your mindset, your habits set, your lifestyle, but predominantly your mindset, because your mindset sets the tone, your mindset sets the trajectory on how you're going to either succeed or if you're either going to fail. So these are one of the basic things I'm going to be talking to us about this live session. So please, I'd like you to, if you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I think this is the right time for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and let's get things started and kicked off. I hope you're having a nice time. I hope things are really, really well for you. I hope things are really going very well for you. So it is a time, it's a medium for us to come and learn. When I learned this particular habit, it changed the way I thought, it changed the way I handled money, it changed the way I saw things, it changed how I did things. You understand? Most of you, or some of you, have read Rich Dad Poor Dad. I got some of it from some of what I know now from Rich Dad Poor Dad. It tremendously changed my mindset. And also, I believe it will also change your mind. So now, let me give you this. If you want to become a wealthy person, it doesn't start with you having loads and words of cash in hand. Sometimes you might say it's having multiple sources of income. No, becoming a millionaire doesn't start with having multiple sources of income. It's not that. That one is not excluded because wealthy men have different sources of income, but it doesn't start from you having multiple sources of income. It starts with these three secret hidden mindsets that they imbibe in themselves. That the poor and middle class, sometimes they may know it, they may not practice it, or they may not know it entirely. These hidden secrets may not entirely be a secret to you. If you are practicing it, I think it's going to be very good with you. Number one, wealthy people think in terms of assets, not just in terms of income. Wealthy people think in terms of assets, not just in terms of income. Now, learn this. If you're just thinking in terms of income alone, yes, you may eventually get the income you are looking for, but if you're not thinking in terms of assets, those income will come and they will leak off like you putting money in a basket. Are you getting what I'm saying? So this is what happens. Cash, just like Grant Cardone usually says, cash is trash. It can be burned. It can go. It can lose its value. $1 million today will no longer be $1 million next year, because each and every time you keep words of cash with you, the values of that money is depreciating. Each time you take money and go to the bank and keep saving it, the value of that money is depreciating because inflation eats up that cash on a steady basis. And if you're thinking in terms of income alone, there will come a time when you may not have the physical strength or the ability or the agility to go and keep hustling to get more income. Now, this is what happened. Let me give you this backstand story. Back in the ancient times, we had these primitive people who always went for hunting. So when they went for hunting, they went each day, they caught animals, they caught their kill, they came back, they merely cooked that meat. When they cooked it, they ate it. Sometimes they couldn't finish it. It meant that most of the meat or some of the meat was going to be wasted. So if it was going to be wasted, they tried as much as possible to just eat as much as they could so that they can throw away the others. But what does that mean? It meant that what does that mean? It meant that if they are going to eat everything they caught that particular day, it meant that they are going to go and catch another meat the next day. So it made them to run on a hamster wheel. It made them to continually run in cycle, which means they were completely apprehensive about their future. It means that every day they would have to come out to go and catch another meat. They needed to go out for hunting on a daily basis. And if you check it quite all right, this is the habit and ways the poor and the middle class do think. Every time they think in terms of going out to work, going to work. Mind you, I'm not saying working is bad. It's extremely good if it's what you like. But why go out working every day when you know that you could build something with what you have? Now, each and every time they went on hunting, went on hunting. When they caught the kill, they ate it immediately. They went the next day, they caught the kill, they went again the next day. That was the cycle they were in. So inside those primitive ancient hunters, some of them started thinking about how they were going to be able to, preserve what they are killing each day, because they discovered that it's not every day you go for hunting that you get a kill. So it means that the day you go for hunting that you don't get a kill, it means that maybe that day you're going to starve. So they decided to devise a means. They said, okay, we are going to get a kill. When we catch the animal, instead of killing it mainly, we find the male and the female, we keep them, we start rearing them. When they started rearing them, started rearing them. The male and the female started mating and they started having children. Meanwhile, it didn't stop them from going out for their normal daily hunting. So they went each and every day, they went for their daily hunting while also rearing their home produce, the animals they already caught on the previous day. So the animals kept on mating and they started bearing children. So it means that they now had two sources. One, the animals they caught previous day that they didn't kill, but they started rearing them, they started meeting and they started having children. And the next day they went for another kill. That was how it was going. So this sophisticated these sophisticated hunters now realize that okay, the day we decide not to go for hunting, the ones that we have that are already mating, we are already rearing, we can take one from there and eat. You see the case study now. So when you go out on a daily basis to work without saving, without putting that money you worked in an investment, it means like you're working like the primitive local hunters who didn't know better, who didn't know how to preserve what they were already going out to catch on a daily basis. So one of the best basic things the wealthy people think about is in terms of assets and in terms of generational wealth. They don't just think in terms of income, because income is liquid, income trash, cash is trash. When it stays in your hand a long time, it becomes a liability. Even the money you send to the bankers do see it as a liability on their own aspect, because it takes somewhat of expenses to keep your cash with them. So that is why you see that immediately your cash comes into their hand, what they do is that they lend your cash to business people for them to work with and bring them interest. So thereby they are using your money to work. So one of the basic things you must understand is that your cash is trash when it is kept just like that. You want to make sure as much as possible on a daily basis that you are building your investment portfolio on a daily basis. That's number one. Then number two, they prioritize long-term value over instant gratification. They prioritize long-term value over instant gratification. One thing I found out about poor and middle class is that the poor people, they are always looking for what to eat, they are always looking for meal to eat, they are always running up and down to find something to eat. While the middle class are so obsessed with having so many properties, having so many cars, having so many things just to make sure they look rich. You understand? So now all the things they try to get, like the poor go for meal, that one is vital, but it's something that you just eat immediately and it goes off. Why the middle class, they go and get liabilities that are choking them, that are not growing in value. Instead, as the year comes by, they are always depreciating in value. So you see how the middle class keep themselves poor, while the wealthy people, they may not look rich externally because they know what they are looking for. They are bent on delaying gratification and using that particular money of the particular income they are receiving to invest in their financial future. So one of the basic things I want to see about is that you want to start thinking in terms of your future, not just your present. So there is one thing about the wealthy that I like. They know that they need to plant a tree. They plant it knowing that the tree they are planting right now, they may not be able to eat from the fruit of the tree, but they are willing to plant it so that their children would also benefit from the tree. So they think in terms of 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, even 40 years. They even think beyond their own lifetime. They think of legacy. They don't think of instant gratification. That is why you see the poor and middle class, immediately they get an increase in salary, they just rush and go and squander it. And I am among those persons who I had that same habit. You understand? Once the money comes, you just go, you squander, you want to eat everything immediately. But you forget that when you eat everything immediately without delaying gratification, you are eating the soldiers of your future. So if you eat everything, which soldiers will be there for them to fight for you? So you don't need to eat everything. You must realize that your financial future is vitally important because you're not gonna be having this strength you have now forever. A time will come when you lose the strength you're having now. A time will come when your bones will be feeble. You will not be able to have the agility you have right now. So one of the best things I see you want to be is that you want to start preparing, not just by doing it anyhow, but by deciding that your financial future is vitally important. Number three, and finally, they solve expensive problems. One thing about the world is that they solve expensive problems. If you check out the life of Elon Musk, you see that he does so many crazy things. The things he does are out of this world. You see him trying to find a way to go to Mars. You see him bringing internet that serves the whole world. You see him do things that even normal human beings have not even thought about doing. But he's even thinking in advance. So wealthy people solve wealthy problems. Poor people solve petty problems, or they don't even solve any problem at all. So one of the things you want to start looking at is you want to start asking yourself some of these simple, ample questions. What problems am I solving? If you know the problem you are solving right now, you can be able to know the bracket you are on. You understand? If you want to look at the kind of problems you're solving, are they expensive problems? If you solve problems for petty people, if you solve those petty problems, you're only going to be having change, and yes, that may be okay because you might feed from it, but you might not grow anything substantial out of that particular problem solving. Because let me tell you something, when you solve big things, you get big reward. Look at David in the Bible, who decided to solve the problem of the nation of Israel. That was a gigantic problem on its own. The king could not solve it, the warriors could not solve it, great fighters could not solve it. But only David stepped in to fight Goliath and defeated Goliath. He became he became somebody phenomenal. People were hailing him. Saul kill 1,000, David kill tens of thousands, because the problem you solve determines the reward you get. If you solve little problem, you get little reward. If you solve great problem, you get great reward. If you find the cure for cancer, I bet you all paths will beat to your house, all road paths will beat to your house, because nobody wants to die. You understand? If you find a way to solve huge problems, you discover that life is going to become more easier for people and you will receive their money. Please, I'd like you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's a way of supporting the work I do, and also I'd also like you to make sure you join my one-on-one breakthrough clarity session where I hold you by hand to help you break limiting beliefs. Just go and tap the link in the calendar link on my bio and book a day that is convenient with you. And I'm going to be right there with you. So let me give you a recap of how I started. I said there are three secret mindset that millionaires have that poor and middle class do not have. Number one, they think in terms of assets rather than in terms of just ordinary income. Cash is trash. When it is left on your hand, it will definitely lose its value. But assets always grow exponentially. They grow in value. 5 years from now, your asset will be bigger than it was when you bought it initially. But liabilities don't grow that way. They always depreciate in value as the time goes on. And also, I said that number two, they prioritize long-term value over instant gratification. Wealthy people prioritize long-term value over instant gratification. Wealthy people know that they don't need to eat everything today. They need to make sure they think about their future, not just in terms of their future, but in terms of their children's future. So they are willing to take the necessary risk, delay the gratifications in order for them to arrive at the destination they have always desired. And I believe that as you've gone live with me and as you've seen this today, you're going to help yourself to change the trajectories of your life. And number three, they solve expensive problems. The problems you solve today determines the kind of reward you will get. If you solve petty problems, you will get petty money. If you solve expensive problems and place yourself as an authority in that area, you will see governors and presidents who beat their path to your house. They will come looking for you. Look at Elon Musk, the world wealthiest as of this moment. He is always doing gigantic things, traveling to Mars, going outside the Earth, doing SpaceX, doing this, doing that. While the poor and average human being is thinking of how they will just survive at this particular moment. So what I want to think about is how do I upgrade my mindset in order for me to start thinking like the number one elite in the world. Are you getting what I'm saying? So if you have any question, please, I'd like you to ask me in the chat section below. And also, I'd like you to stay tuned for my upcoming videos. I appreciate you for the time we've had. I appreciate you so much. See you in the next videos. Thank you.